Great leaders, they don't delegate risk, they absorb it. Our job as leaders is to assume the risk so our people can make bold decisions, lean forward, and take those risks. I used to tell my team if things went wrong to point the finger at me and say, "Chief told me I could do it," because I was ready to assume the risk for anything that went bad. I would give my team the credit. When things didn't go as planned, it was my fault. Think of it like this. You're the shield for your team as the leader. If something doesn't go like it's supposed to and your boss comes down breathing fire, you get that shield up because it's you. You're the meat shield. You take the punches, insulate your team. You don't do this because you're fearless. You do this because that's part of your job. In this video, I'm going to talk about risk and why you as a leader should be absorbing that for your team. And it's one of the top requirements of our job as leaders and how to get after it. So be ready to shoulder that burden because that's what your position requires. Let's take a look at what that risk looks like as a leader. First, let's talk about the risk of failure. The risk of failure is when something might not go right and your team is not going to meet that goal and they're going to be unsuccessful. You're going to miss that finish line. And so there's a risk that you're going to fail. You need to step in, acknowledge you might fail, and tell your team you've got their back to give their best effort. That encourages your team to go in with 110% and give it everything they've got because they know if they don't make it, you've got their back and you're there to protect them. That helps drive performance. So embrace the risk of failure. Learn from it and be better. Risk of accountability is the next one. This is where you assume the risk and you're fully accountable to a mistake that your team makes. You're the leader. If they make a mistake under your watch, guess what? It's your fault. And that's the risk that you take by being in that position. Anywhere in my organization, my team could make a mistake tomorrow. And guess what? I would have to own that and own how we're going to take care of that mistake and how we're going to move forward so we don't make the same one twice. But what I don't get to do is point the finger straight at that person and say, hey, it's their fault. I'm taking no responsibility. I'm the leader, so I'm responsible. Next up is the risk of being vulnerable or vulnerability. Vulnerability is key and an unused mindset by most leaders. You have to be vulnerable. You have to tell your team, hey, I doubt this. I'm not sure what we should do, or I'm not sure if this is going to work. That lets your team know that you're human and lets them buy into you. Being vulnerable also means stepping out as a leader in front of your team and admitting when you're wrong. We're all going to be wrong from time to time as leaders, even when we're trying to be our best. And the best leaders, they raise their hand with their team and they admit when they've done something wrong, why they made the mistake, and that how they're going to be better. They make a strong commitment to their team that you're not going to make the same mistake twice. But if you don't admit that you're wrong and your team knows it, you're gonna lose a ton of credibility as a leader. Being vulnerable is way more valuable, way more honest, and it's the right thing to do. Another risk you might have to take as a leader is the friction risk. The risk that you might have to stand up for something you believe is right and getting that pushback from somebody higher up in the food chain than you. Our people expect our leaders to stand up and fight for them. If they feel that you're not going to take care of them and you're not going to fight for them when it matters, you're going to lose a lot from your people. And they're not going to give you their best because you're not doing a key component of what they think you should be doing as a leader. Embrace the friction, fight for what's right, and stand up for your team when they've earned it. The real truth is your team can't perform at their best if you're not assuming the risk as a leader. They're going to be shy. They're going to be afraid. If they think that any mistake they make is going to get them crushed, they're not going to perform their best. When you assume that risk, you allow them to move forward without that worry, which lets them perform worry-free to reach that top potential. If you could get everyone in your organization, every leader, to assume the risk and let their team operate, then your teams would be crushing it. It's all about that psychological safety, that trust, and that confidence in the leader. There's a wrong way. Don't be the leader who just offloads risk onto their people. This is the wrong way to lead, and you'll lose credibility real quick, and the team performance that you're running will drop off a cliff, and it will be hard to recover. because rebuilding that confidence in you as a leader takes a long time. Losing it though, a fraction of a second. So here's what that offload looks like. These leaders, they say, hey, figure it out. Then they disappear. And if something doesn't go right, they're nowhere to be found. And you're the one left taking the scathing. When mistakes do happen, they just shift it onto another team member. They blame, they point the finger, they do anything but take ownership. They create these mini cultures of fear, silence, and hesitation. Their team doesn't put their neck out there. They do exactly what they're told to do, no more. They don't go out above and beyond because they're afraid they're on the chopping block. This is stifling. Those teams are gonna stunt the growth and potential that they could reach if their leader did what I said in this video. The way that I did this as a junior leader is we had to do maintenance on a lot of equipment. And sometimes the maintenance procedure was kind of sketchy and hard to understand. So I told my sailors, hey, bring that maintenance card to me. I'm gonna review it. And guess what? If I tell you to do it a certain way as the chief, then you go execute. But guess what? If it breaks, doesn't go as planned, the first thing I want you to do is say, hey, chief told me to do it. And I'll go stand in front of the captain. That was my choice. Because again, I'm the insulator. Other tactical ways that you can take the heat or you can take that risk is whenever something does go wrong, debrief your team, but don't blame your team. Talk about what went wrong, how the team can be better, and how you can move forward. Don't point fingers, just talk about the facts and how you can be better so it doesn't happen again. My final thought and word of wisdom is, if you want to lead, you got to be the one who's willing to step into the fire first. Leaders eat that risk so their people can eat those opportunities. What's some risk that you've assumed as a leader so your people didn't have to? Drop it in the comments so we can see what other leaders are risking on behalf of their team and good examples of how to be a better leader. If this hit home with you, smash that like button. Every Friday, I drop an in-depth, long-form video about leadership, motivation, and how to be better. Thanks for watching.